Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your art practice?
Yeah. My name is Art Morrill. I'm 38 years old, and I was born and raised in East Coast Canada, and now I live in the Western United States. So uh, I'm a dad, a husband. I have four kids, and as you can read in my artist statement, my my kids have a pretty big influence on who I am and my work, um, and especially one of my sons was born with a couple of heart defects that he had treatment and surgery and um, therapy for, and he's in a great health. He's in great health now. So um, reflected in my art is this fascination with the body's ability to be intervened on and to adapt, and to be manipulated in such a way that it could, be drastically changed, but then be, correct itself and be healthy. And it's interesting. My as we're going through all these medical issues with him, I got really fascinated with or I was surprised, I should say, by the fact that doctors, probably because of my lack of experience, like as a layman, they would explain things in very simplistic terms to me and in very straightforward ways, and it was very similar. It was a very similar experience to like how a mechanic in a car repair shop might describe repairing your vehicle, and I was really surprised. It caused me to realize how much our body is just a network of systems, and basically a machine that can function in a certain way and be changed to adapt to new things. And I was just really fascinated. In hindsight, as I consider my son's experience, I've been really fascinated by that reality, how our bodies, as incredible as they are, they're not that dissimilar to a lot of objects and machines and systems that we deal with on a regular basis. And so I wanted to reflect that in my art, how our bodies are not that different from uh, a sculpture or a painting. And could I approach making work in a way that, for me, is kind of a reflection or a meditation on a process similar to the operations that my son went through. So, so that's, I mean, that kind of explains this interest in like pieces being like sutured together or fit together, or the juxtaposition of different materials in my work. I'm a very kind of, I really love abstraction. I'm very much into kind of the rise of conceptualism and abstraction in the 70s. And I was very passionate about that. But then I also had this, like, my personal experience was being a dad and having this son who had this important kind of health issue that he was dealing with. And so in a way to marry that, I've begun to teach myself and learn different ways of like suturing and building these pieces of art that are abstract in nature, but feel kind of like, I want them to feel, like they might have flesh or skin or bone to them, even though they also incorporate things that I was more familiar with, in terms of like carpentry and wood carving and sculpture, painting. And so taking these skills that I have and I'm familiar with as an artist, and then approaching them in this new way of kind of being a doctor or a surgeon and operating on these works. So that's really that's me in my art practice. I'm really lucky as a dad. I work at home. I now have a studio in the house, and my kids have, all of them, their entire lives have just been growing up around me doing work, and so it's just kind of a part of our everyday life. And they'll wander in, and I'll be doing something weird. I'll be like, wrapping metal in fabric, or carving this really weird shape, and they'll be like, "What you doing?" And I'll be like, "I'm just making art." And they're like, "Oh, cool." And sometimes they'll pull up. Sometimes my daughter, she's 5 now, she'll pull up some paper and get some paint out and paint with me or whatever. But it's kind of just as we go about our day, it's an everyday part of our lives. So yeah, that's me.
It's a family thing.
Yeah.
And how does it feel being involved in this kind of virtual residency for you?
I love it. It's really great. The dynamic of between my wife and I am an educator. I'm an art educator, and I teach part-time as an adjunct faculty. But otherwise, I'm the primary kind of parent at home now. And my wife is the one who works mostly outside of the house. And so, and I have 4 kids. My oldest is 15. My youngest is 5. And we're a fairly big family. And I've, throughout, as an artist, my kids have followed me all over the country. We've moved all over the place, going to school and whatnot. But I've always wanted to do a residency, and unfortunately, a lot of residencies can't accommodate a family, especially a family of 6. They just don't have the resources usually to accommodate that. And so, an online residency, like I get to participate here at Belgrade Studios, is wonderful because I'm getting the interaction with other artists. The feedback, we're all of us are from different backgrounds and have different educations and points of view and expertise. So I get that benefit of, this like good breadth of voices, but then I can also still manage, the fact that I can do it from home, and I can do it with, while taking care of my kids, and I could drop them off at school and then come home and be in a meeting for the residency and work on my work. And that's a huge benefit that I really enjoy with this program.
And what is your project about?
So right now I'm working on a project, excuse me. I'm working on a project that, as I mentioned, my work is often, incorporating these different elements of wood and cardboard and painted pieces that get assembled together. And so for my project that during this residency, I was thinking about a way of kind of helping the viewer understand the various parts of this language, of this visual language I've created. And so I'm creating a video that will kind of isolate these different parts, almost like I'm kind of in talking in the residency and getting feedback. I heard these ideas about, like, what about, like, thinking about when you buy a piece of furniture that you have to assemble, and you have, or a machine of some sort, and you have a booklet that describes the various parts and how they fit together. And I kind of wanted to do that, where I create not an online, but a video piece that isolates various parts, and that helps the viewer maybe draw more connections to how these various pieces function together, both aesthetically and structurally, but then also help to, like when they're looking at like this like kind of grid of wood that's been carved out, realize it's also a reference maybe to the skeleton of a body, and understand through isolating these various parts how my language kind of fits together, almost like a dictionary, isolates various parts of a spoken language. And so creating that like a lexicon. So the video would act as like a lexicon of my work and where it's coming from and what it's about.
What about future plans? Any ideas, exhibitions, projects in mind?
I have a solo exhibition coming up in September here in Utah, in the United States, at Bountiful Davis Art Center, which I'm really excited about. Otherwise, just kind of, just doing what artists do all the time, right? Like applying and contacting and hoping for more opportunities in the months to come to show more work. I'm always making work. That's what I want to do, right? It's like, and so I'm really excited to be working on this big body of work for the solo exhibition. And I'm also part of an artist collective called Park Collective, and right now we're working on some publications to document some shows we had during COVID that we did online, and so we're working on those publications, and we're excited to get those put out and printed, and yeah, and I'm really excited about kind of life getting back to normal and getting out to see art in person again, and going to openings and seeing friends who I haven't seen for a while, and yeah, those are my plans right now, getting back into the swing of art life, I guess.
Good luck with the exhibition, and thank you for this interview, Art.
Yeah, thank you.